Okie doke. I think we have enough people to get started. So hi everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's session on energy efficiency and living condition upgrades for New Brunswickers. As many of you know, the cost of living is rising, and many people are struggling to pay their power bills on top of other costs like the cost of living and housing and food. There is an imperative to ensure that everyone has access to suitable housing and are able to make the upgrades they need to without raising the cost. Improving the housing stock in New Brunswick will improve living conditions, lower the cost of energy, and reduce carbon emissions in the electricity sector. To that end, we are joined today by representatives from NB Power and the Department of Social Development, responsible for energy efficiency retrofit programs and the Residential Rehabilitation Assistance Program. The speakers we have today are Nicole McKenna, who joined NB Power's Energy Efficiency Services team in 2017, serving as the program lead for low income and direct install programs. Prior to joining NB Power, Nicole worked at WorkSafe NB as the engineer for the Compliance and Regulatory Review Group. And before that, she was a bylaw enforcer for the City of St. John, managing minimum property standards bylaw. And we have Janet Collins from the Department of Social Development, who was a provincial consultant, where she has worked in housing for over 15 years. Janet earned her bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of New Brunswick. So throughout the presentation, we asked you to keep your microphones muted to reduce background noise and to put any questions you might have into the chat for the Q&A period that will come at the end of the presentation. So with no further ado, I'll let Nicole take it away.
Thanks, Adam. I'm just going to wait for the presentation to be loaded up.
Okay.
So as Adam mentioned, I am Nicole McKenna, and I'm the program lead for one of our residential efficiency programs here at NB Power. I actually manage the low income program, but I also do the direct install that encompasses our community outreach and some new pilot programs that we're looking at launching this year. Next slide. So basically here at NB Power, why do we want to, NB Power wants its customers to use less energy. So it's a part of our long-term strategy. It reduces overall energy consumption to avoid the need to build new generating stations in the future. We're building a stronger, smarter power grid with more ways for you to save energy and money. And it's clean, reliable energy at a stable prices for generations to come. Next slide. So this means it's a win-win-win all the way around. So three major wins that we like to identify are that it's saving and increased comfort in both at your home and at your work. Economic spin-offs in New Brunswick community. So local contractors are hiring employees to renovate new, homes in New Brunswick, and businesses also purchasing supplies from local hardware stores. And the third one is energy efficiency is fighting climate changes, which is upgrading your homes, businesses, and industry to be more energy efficient is one of the most effective ways to cut greenhouse gas emissions. Next slide. So as a breakdown on what your household uses energy, so 60% of annual energy is used in an average home is attributed to heat loss. So the amount of heat is required depends on the heat requirement of the occupants, the home's ability to retain heat, and this we could do by insulating and air sealing any drafty areas, and also the weather, obviously outside temperatures. Next slide. And then the 20% of your annual energy used in a home is attributed to hot water. So the amount of energy required for hot water depends again on the number of occupants in the home, their hot water usage habits, and also a timely fixing any leaks that may exist. So, and just as an FYI is, on average, your hot water usage costs approximately 3 cents per gallon. Next slide. And then the remaining 20% of your usage is actually your appliances and your lights. So again, the amount of energy required for appliances and lights depends on the lighting and appliances that we choose to use in our home, and also how many hours we use them. Next slide. So here at MB Power, we have some residential programs, some commercial energy efficiency programs, and also an industrial program. So in the residential sector, we have what's called our Total Home Energy Savings Program. There's also the New Homes Energy Savings Program, our Community Outreach Program, and also the Low Income Energy Savings Program. In our commercial sector, we have our Commercial Building Retrofit Program and also our Business Rebate Program. And as I mentioned, we also have an Industrial Energy Efficiency Program. So I'm going to briefly touch base today on our Total Home, our Community Outreach, our Low Income, and also some of the commercial programs. Next slide. So for the Total Home Energy Savings Program, you can go to the next slide. So it provides financial incentives to all New Brunswickers, no matter how you heat your home or what your energy provider is. So it is also open to not just to MB Power customers, it's open to St. John Energy customers, it's open to Perth, Edmundston Power. So these are open for all New Brunswickers in the province. To qualify for financial incentives through the program, homeowners must have an initial and a final home energy evaluation performed, and that's at a cost of $99 plus tax, and that includes both your initial and your final evaluations. So the reason why we have to have an initial evaluation done, it determines your base EnerGuide rating for your home prior to the upgrades being installed. And then the final evaluation confirms the upgrades and determines your new EnerGuide rating. And we use that information to determine your financial incentives. Next slide. So for our community outreach program, the community outreach program traditionally works with nonprofit or community organizations such as food banks or United Way, or even we do partner up with social development also to help their clients save money and become more comfortable with low-cost energy efficient program or products. These kits have energy efficiency products, installation instructions, and other energy efficiency tips. So as you can see the picture below, that's what the box looks like. That would be handed out to the clients. Each box contains light bulbs, night light, kitchen and bathroom aerators, water efficiency shower head, outlets, safety caps, outlets and switch foam gaskets, a V-seal weather strip, and also a power bar. These kits are also available. So as we said, we are working with not-for-profit organizations. And then within these, as I mentioned earlier, there's installation instructions. We also on our website have how-to videos to show how to install some of these products. Next slide. So our low-income energy savings program. So this is actually a funded program that is not funded by MB Power. We've recently received a $5 million increase in our budget. Annually, it's $2 million provided by social development. And then this year, through the Government of New Brunswick climate funding, they've provided us an additional $2 million. And then under the Low Carbon Economy Fund, which is funded by the federal government, we've received another $1 million. So the Low Income Energy Savings Program helps low-income homeowners reduce energy consumptions and costs through targeted free efficiency retrofits. So in order to qualify for those, you must register as the primary homeowner. You must fall under the provincial household income limits, which is determined by social development annually, and your property taxes must be paid in full. So this year, due to the increase in budget that we have, we used to have a $2 million budget, and that we used to have about 230 to 280 participants a year. This year, with the increase in budget, we're targeting to have at least approximately just over 600 participants this year. Next slide. So for commercial buildings, We have we have two different programs. So we have our commercial building retrofit program, which that is a comprehensive retrofit program for existing buildings. Incentives for energy audits and implementation. The incentives are for all fuels. So $3,000 of that could go towards your evaluation as an incentive, and then up to $7,500 towards energy retrofitting costs. Some of the projects that include so insulation, air sealing, windows and doors, your HVAC system and various heat pumps are included. Your building management control systems are included, interior and exterior lighting, and also elevators. So some of the buildings that have come through our programs are arenas, retail buildings, large multi-unit residential buildings, hotels, motels, restaurants, recreational, anything that has a commercial setting. Next slide. So then this is our new program. It's called the Business Rebate Program. So it's a rebate program that caters to all commercial industrial buildings. This new program provides a simple, accessible product rebates that do not require any audit or feasibility study. So participants can get up to 25% of eligible product costs to up to $250,000 incentives. It's offered by a first come, first served basis. And some of the examples again that do require, this is just a very simple a sample of what our incentives are, but there's commercial laundry equipment, your HVAC system, heat pumps, LED lighting and controls. So these are all, again, all the information that on any of these programs are on our website if anybody ever wants to go and look for further detail. Next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, so one of my role here at NB Power is also at looking at gaps and trying to find new efficiency programs that for customers that do not necessarily fall with any of our existing programs. So one of the things that we've decided to do it started this fiscal, and we're hoping to be able to move forward with this pilot in this coming fiscal, is working with Janet and her team at social development to develop what we're calling the NB Power Social Development RAP Energy Efficiency Pilot Program. And this is intended to provide financial support to help RAP participants offset the cost of energy efficiency products and upgrades. So again, we're in the very early stages of the developmental program of this, but we are targeting to hopefully start communicating with potential participants in the RAP program this coming spring so that we can work on that to determine whether or not this is going to be a feasible program that maybe we can develop as a existing continuous program later on. Next slide. So that's all I have. If anybody has any question, or if we want to wait till the end for questioning, and then after Janet has kind of provided her portion.
Thank you, Nicole. Corey, you can end share on Nicole's presentation, and we can put a spotlight on Janet.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janet Collins, as you heard in the introduction. I am a provincial consultant with social development, and I have worked with social development for 15 years or over 15 years. And I've worked with this program the whole time, actually. So I'm going to talk about the rental RAP program. So first of all, the rental RAP program it's an acronym that stands for Residential Rehabilitation Assistance Program. And it's obviously a program that's offered by social development. It provides social financial assistance to owners and landlords for mandatory repairs to self-contained units that are substandard and rented to low-income households. So to qualify, a property has to be owned by a landlord or a nonprofit corporation. Property has to have one or more unit in it, self-contained rental unit. And occupants in those units must have incomes below the established household income limits, which vary by household size and geographical area. Rents must be at or below established levels, which are referred to as the median market rents within the department. and the property must be more than at least 5 years old. So the property must lack basic facilities or require major repairs in one of the following items. So it could be structural, heating, fire safety, electrical, or plumbing. And an inspection is done by the department to identify all the eligible and mandatory items in the program. Work done at this time through this program, any work done for the sole purpose of energy efficiency is not eligible under the program. A property must operate as a rental enterprise. So nursing homes and special care facilities and things like that wouldn't qualify under the program. So how it works essentially is assistance is in the form of a forgivable loan, which is typically secured by a mortgage, and applicants must enter into a rental agreement. So that ensures that the units remain affordable over the long term through the term of the earning period of the loan. And these loans can be 7 to 12 years. It depends on the amount of funding received per unit. The amount that a recipient could receive is based on the cost of the mandatory repairs and the number of eligible units within the project. So the maximum funding that you could get would be $24,000 per unit. Private landlords must contribute 25% of the total cost of repairs. Nonprofits don't have that requirement. So that would just be for a private landlord applying. Mandatory health and safety items that are identified within the inspections, they must be completed. So anything that's picked up on the inspection needs to get completed. The landlords can't just pick and choose which items. If anything's identified, it has to get done through this program. So that's a real quick summary of the rental wrap program. There are some other programs that are really similar that I wanted to mention as well that are also offered to landlords. So the RAP conversion program. So again, I'm saying RAP, which stands for Residential Rehabilitation Assistance Program. So the RAP conversion program is essentially, it's really, really similar to rental wrap. There's very few differences. The main difference is that that is for projects where they're converting an existing non-residential property, and that's going to be converted into a residential property essentially. So into something that is permanent affordable rental accommodations. So an example of that would be like commercial space, or like say it was a shop or a bank or a restaurant or something like that, and that's getting converted into residence. And another program that we have that again is very, very similar to rental wrap, so most of the same rules would apply, is the rooming house wrap. So essentially it's the same as rental wrap, only it's for rooming houses. The main differences between the programs is that for rooming house wrap, the maximum forgivable loan is goes down to $16,000 per unit, and the rental limits are lower as well. So they take the 60% of the median market rent would be the maximum that they could get per unit for the rents. So it's really quick and short and sweet, but that summarizes the programs that we have right now for renovations for landlords. So when people want to apply for these programs, the application process happens through the regional office. So if anybody wanted to make an application or had questions like after this presentation, that's where you could direct those. I'll give you the number now, but if you want me to repeat it after, I can do it again. So the number to call to apply, and when you call, they will refer you to the local housing office. So it'll be whichever region you're calling from, they'll direct you. So the number is 1-833-733-7835. That's 1-833-733-7835. And of course, on the website, you can find all the information for all of the programs that are offered by housing. And the website is www.gnb.ca/housing. Keeps it simple. So that's it for me. That was short and sweet. So I'm happy to get any questions if anyone has any.
Awesome. Thank you, Janet, and thank you, Nicole. We had more time planned for presentations, so we have lots of time for questions, so don't feel hesitant at all. Whatever comes to your mind, I'm sure our lovely guest will be happy to answer them. There's a few questions in the chat right now, so we'll get to those right away. So Will the new pilot project be oriented only on low-income household? That I feel like could go to both, either of you.
I can start. It's Nicole. So the answer is the way we want to target this program is you need to be a RAP participant through the social developments program that Janet just spoke to. So you would have to meet their criteria in order to be able to participate in our program. And Janet, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah, under rental wrap, so any of the housing programs, individuals who are applying, like the tenants, would have to be under the income criteria, not the landlord. The tenants live in the actual building.
Okay, the next question is, I feel like a good follow-up question to that. How can we know that our rent is affordable?
So I mentioned the median market rents. There's rents, median market rents are set for each, in each region. There's specific regional rents that are set to ensure that landlords can't charge over and above these amounts, which like it's a long-term agreement that people have to get into. Like I said, it's 7 to 12 years under the rental wrap program. So it ensures if a landlord goes through the rental wrap program, it's great because it means that the apartment's getting fixed up. So, you know, everything that's required in that place is going to get up to code and well cleaned up. And then at the same time, the rents aren't going to be going up as well, because that's part of the program. It's basically offered with the hope and the goal that, you know, we can improve the housing conditions without actually making the rents go up.
So you're kind of avoiding rent evictions in this way.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
It's great for that.
Okay. Another question, how would the pilot work to bring energy efficiency into the RAP program? So have you figured out any details or?
So the way we're looking at it is we're looking at kind of doing the similar program as what our business rebate program is so having prescriptive certain key items such as possibly like heat pumps and insulation and HRVs, doors and windows, but the nitty-gritty of what each of those criteria are going to be, we don't know them yet. But the idea is, because they're going through the RAP program under Janet's program, we're trying to close that gap. Since there's renovations happening, what are other renovations that could potentially that we could help out with and close that gap with incentives? So it's helping landlords and developers who are participating in the RAP to be able to say, well, since I'm doing some renovations, where else can I do some renovations to increase energy efficiency?
Okay. I have a quick follow-up question to that before we get to the others. It's more for Janet. Do you know why energy efficiency is not eligible under the RAP program already?
Years ago, like I don't want to date myself here, but like over a decade ago, there was an efficiency program through New Brunswick Social Development. And at some point, I think it was like 2010 or 2011, say New Brunswick Social Development no longer does efficiency work. It was all moved to NB Power. I'm not sure beyond that. I don't have any details as to, like, you know, the programs that were delivered at NB Power after the fact, but we haven't worked with efficiency since that time.
Okay.
And I can allude to that. So it was before my time, but what happened was, yes, Jan's correct. They used to take care of that. And then, so before efficiency came to NB Power, it was actually under Efficiency New Brunswick. And then when government decided to remove, so there was the social development was taking care of the low income efficiency side of things. And then they stopped that, created Efficiency New Brunswick. And then from there, when the government said, you know what, we're gonna like completely eliminate ourselves or from that, and then it rolled into NB Power. So that's kind of like the high level explanation on how this happened. But specifically of why RAP itself does not focus on efficiency program or products, that it's kind of the same thing as why some items are covered in our low income program and some are not, right? It comes back to developmental programs. So that's why we know there's a gap, So we're searching at, looking at developing, closing that gap and working together.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
and the rental wrap program really focuses on the items that are required to bring it up to a standard of safety. And, you know, there's always limited budget when we're talking about any program, but that's been the focus of that program, is to make sure that it's healthy and safe and the people living there aren't at risk of the roof caving in on them. Like,
Right.
that's why we focus specifically on, you know, electrical, fire safety, heating, like those items.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense to me.
And my previous job with the city of St. John, you know, being a bylaw enforcer for the minimum property standards bylaw, I referred a lot. I focus, again, same thing, on the safety, life safety aspect of a unit or a house, a rental product. So we referred quite a bit of our landlords that I was dealing with through the RAP program to help out. So unfortunately, efficiency is not a life-threatening issue. It's more on life-threatening on the climate, but not in, you know, so it's closing that gap.
Yeah, great. Question from Louise here. What are the opportunities to create grants geared to income so that we also provide support to moderate income households? So instead of just considering low income and total home, or people in the middle who can't afford total home and don't qualify for low income.
Well, it's like you have a crystal ball and you already know what's on my mandate for the next coming year. So one of the other programs, and I actually have a meeting, not after this meeting, but I have another meeting after this one, but another, like 2 meetings from now, I actually have a meeting with some MB Power staff to kind of start discussing on, you know, a moderate income program. So it is on our radar. So we know there's another gap. We've been talking about it for the last year, probably 1.5 years. So one of the things that the climate funding, they're continuously coming to us asking what are other programs that we can kind of look at developing. So I have a funny feeling that, Janet, you and I are going to have a lovely relationship going on. This is not going to be, we're not going to be done with just this pilot. So yeah, I can see us working with social development and other groups also, but moderate income is another one of our targets. So stay tuned. We don't have any ideas yet what we're going to do, but it is on our radar.
Yeah, we'll look out for that one. Question from Brad Nason. Is the University of New Brunswick considered a commercial property? Also, as UNB operates a number of residences, do those qualify under any of these programs?
I can't speak for sure, but they would most likely fall under our commercial property building. Yeah.
Okay.
And there'd be more information on more detail on our website, but if you want to reach out to me and I can put you in touch with the program lead on that, for sure.
Okay, perfect. Question from Robert Jackson. What is the approximate delay in having a residential energy audit first visit after submitting in an application for it?
So what we're saying right now so I'm assuming you're talking about total home, there's usually about a 4-week delay. There's been an uptake right now just because of our greener home, the federal government's greener home program. We will usually say anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks in order to get from the time of registration to the time that you can get your energy audit, your initial, and then your final is, you know, you have 9 months to complete your upgrades. And then what we say is as soon as you're done your upgrades, you just call your service organization and book your final. And then once MB Power receives the information from the service organization from your final evaluation, we say typically 90 days to process your file, and then that you would receive your incentive from us.
Okay, great. Question from Kathy. How to get the initial and final home energy evaluation performed?
So that is through a blower door test. And again, once you register on our website or call our 1-800 number to register for our total home program, you would you could choose either a specific service organization, or you could show no preference, and then we will send it to a service organization. They will call you to schedule your initial. And then again, as I just previously stated, once you're done your upgrade, you call your service organization again and then book your final.
Question from Juan. Are the energy efficiency renovation subsidies through MB Power limited to low-income households? So I think we've kind of already touched on that.
Yeah, so the way we kind of label it is the low-income program is for specifically, obviously, for low income. The total home program is open to all New Brunswickers, including low income. It's just it has that $99 fee. A lot of low income participants will participate in total home after they've completed our low income program, mainly because we do not have heat pumps in our low income program, and some of them do want to still have a heat pump, which is included. You can get an incentive through our total home program.
You may have just answered the follow-up to this question, but the person participated in a similar program around 15 years ago. Can they do this again?
For total home, you can participate more than once. Low income, my recommendation is to apply, and then we'll be able to determine, but normally it's one participant or one household. So if you've moved, if you're a low income household owner, and you participated in, 123 Main Street, and you've moved to 125 Main Street, then yes, the house can only participate in once. But if you're the registered owner and you've moved, the chances are you can probably participate again. But again, just call our 1-800 number and we'll be able to iron that out for you.
And what are the elements of an energy audit?
So an energy audit, the way the process works is an energy advisor would show up to your home and conduct what's called a blower door test and gather all the information of your household and then put it through the HOT 2000 program and determine what recommendations are should be done within your home. And then you would receive a report, and then also the energy advisor would go over what they would recommend, and then it's up to you to decide. If we're talking total home, it would be the homeowner that would decide which upgrades they want to do. You would pay for your upgrades up front, and then you would submit your receipts and whatever other data that they would need for total home. For the low income program, it's the same process in the sense that we have an energy advisor that would go to the home and conduct an energy audit. It'd be the same process as our total home, the blower door test, get the information on what the current state of the household. And then NB Power receives a report from the service organization on potential recommendations. And then we are the ones that decide which upgrades are going to be performed on the home based on energy rating and energy savings calculations that we do. Sometimes all the items get approved, sometimes none of them get approved, sometimes some get approved and others don't. So we do a very thorough, the goal is to try to approve everybody and all the upgrades, but it's based on energy savings on the actual upgrade. And then we have a contractor that goes in and does the retrofit for you. So the low income program is a turnkey. We take care and it's 100% funded. So there is the only cost that is just your time to let us in to do both audits and the upgrades.
There's a follow-up to this question, then we'll get to the others. Is it only blow door, or what if I add insulation to the walls? Is it unlikely to change the blown door results?
So if you're going to do any upgrades, the requirement is to have your blower door done prior to any upgrades being done, because we need that baseline status of your household.
Okay. Back to the UMB, do residences fall under any of these RAP programs, especially if we house low-income students?
For the rental RAP program through social development, no, student residences don't qualify under that program.
Okay. One more question in the chat here. Given energy poverty concerns in New Brunswick, how deep are the retrofits in low-income households? Should we be aiming for 50% improvement or a deep retrofit?
So one of the things we do for we do the complete building envelope. So we look at attic insulation, we'll do basement insulation, air sealing. So we really concentrate on our building envelope. We will not go in and do any work. You may be approved for some upgrades or all upgrades, but if there's structural damage or water leak damage or stuff, we can't go in. You've already been approved, but we can't go in until those things are addressed. But our target is on average in a year, the ones that don't qualify for our program, based on whether or not upgrades are recommended or not, based on energy savings, I would say it's less than 10%. So we do see a huge uptake in our program.
Okay, unless there's any more questions, I think we can maybe wrap up. I think this webinar was really efficient, to use a bad pun. So I would like to thank you, Janet and Nicole, for agreeing to share your programs with us. I think it was really informative and the questions really got into the details, and I want to thank everyone for attending as well. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I think this was great. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, bye.